Now, let's take this even deeper because the truth is, most product pages aren't failing because people don't like the product. They're failing because the experience is full of tiny moments where the buyer loses trust, loses interest, or simply gets mentally tired. Let's say your product has multiple color or size options, but the drop down menu looks cluttered or resets when someone clicks back. That might seem like a minor bug to you, but to a buyer, that's frustrating. And frustration online doesn't lead to feedback, it leads to exits. Or think about descriptions that try too hard to sound premium. I've seen so many pages where a simple hoodie is described as an elevated textile experience crafted for the discerning modern minimalist. But the buyer is just trying to find out if it is warm, if it fits true to size, and whether it shrinks in the wash. When we overcomplicate the language, we lose people. That's not branding, that's confusion. Wearing a nice suit. And then there is the issue of layout. Some product pages stack so much content that it becomes overwhelming. You land on the on the page and it's just boom, wall of a text, a massive gallery, a pop-up, a floating banner, a timer ticking down, and five icons shouting limited stock. That might feel exciting when you design it, but to the visitor, it's noise. There's no hierarchy, no flow, no breathing space. Instead of feeling guided, the customer feels stressed, and stress kills conversion. Now, picture this: a product page with no clear primary image. Maybe the main photo is a lifestyle shot where the product is being used by someone in a cafe lying next to three other items. It looks artistic, sure, but if the buyer can't immediately see the product clearly, the shape, the finish, the size, they're not going to decode it, right? They'll just move onto a site that shows them exactly what they need without the guesswork. And this is the recurring theme: guesswork. When a buyer has to guess what something is, how it works, how it feels, or even how to buy it, they disengage. Even the price is right, even if the product is great, the uncertainty becomes too much work. And on the flip side, even a basic product page, if it is clean, confident, and clear, can outperform a heavily designed one. Why? Because buyers don't come for a creativity. They come to make a decision and anything that helps them to do that faster. Another overlooked failure is poor mobile adaptation. I've said this a couple of times by now. Let's say your site looks fine on desktop, but on mobile the text overlaps, buttons are too small, or images don't scale correctly. That sends a subconscious message: this store isn't polished. And again, even if the product is great, that tiny crack in trust can stop someone from buying. Because mobile users aren't just smaller screen users, they are often multitasking, distracted on the go. If your product page doesn't load cleanly or if it requires two hands to navigate, you're out. And finally, let's talk about tone. Some product pages come across too robotic or on the other extreme too pushy. You've probably seen those pages that shout things like only three left, buy now, or miss out forever. It does not feel urgent, it feels desperate. And desperation isn't persuasive, it creates pressure, not confidence. So instead of overhyping or fear tactics, focus on what people really need: reassurance, a sense that they are making a smart decision, that this brand has thought things through, that someone's going to be there, and if something goes wrong, and that all starts with how the page feels: calm, helpful, complete, not noisy, not needy. Because at the end of the day, a great product shouldn't have to scream. It should speak. It should feel like someone calmly walking you through what you need to know, not rushing you, not confusing you, not selling too hard, just giving the facts, the proof, and the confidence to say, yeah, I want this. That's when the page becomes more than a screen. It becomes a moment of trust, and that moment, when done right, is where conversion actually happens. And here's the part most people miss: those moments of trust aren't created by big gestures, they are built quietly through consistency, through little signals that say, we have thought of you. When the sizing chart is easy to find, when the return policy is worded like a human, not a lawyer, when the images actually match what's written. These things don't just inform the buyer, they comfort them. And that comfort is what makes someone stay an extra second, scroll a little more, click add to cart. Not because you dazzled them, but because you respected their time, their attention, and their hesitation. That's what bad product pages miss. Not the marketing, but the empathy. And when you design with empathy, your page stops being a barrier, it becomes an invitation. Now, let us zoom in even further into the tiny, almost invisible moments that decide whether someone buys or bounces. Because in e commerce, it is not just about big things, it's not just about price, images, or product quality, it's about a flow. And flow is built on micro decisions, little moments where the customer either feels a yes or hits a mental speed bump. And here's what most people don't realize: every click, every scroll, every hesitation is a decision. Think about it like this: from the moment someone lands on your product page, they're moving through a series of quiet questions in their head. Is this the right place? Is this what I'm looking for? Can I trust this? Do I like how this looks? How much is it? Will this work for me? And if at any point the answer is to one of those questions is I am not sure, that's friction. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just might just be a confusing label, or a button that doesn't look clickable, or a product description that's too vague. But it creates doubt, and doubt breaks flow. Let's say your product image takes a couple of seconds too long to load. That tiny delay makes the shopper pause, not leave necessarily, but pause. And in that pause, the brain shifts. They start thinking about other options, other tabs, other sites, or they remember something else they needed to do. And just like that, you have lost their attention. Flow is all about keeping them emotionally connected from start to finish. It is a rhythm, a momentum. Every time your layout feels intuitive, every time your page answers a question before they even ask it, you're removing friction. You're reinforcing the message: yes, you are in the right place. This is simple and this is safe. And when a customer feels that, they don't analyze every detail, they glide. That's the zone you want to create. On the other hand, if your store is full of tiny mental speed bumps, maybe your color swatches don't respond when tapped, or your switching, your shipping information is hidden in a FAQ, or the font is just a little too small on mobile. All of that breaks you. It creates work, and the second your customer has to work to buy from you, you are definitely at risk, my friend. Because buying should never feel like effort. It should feel like ease, like progress, like this makes sense and I know what to do next. That's why conversion optimization isn't just about persuasion, it's about removing the invisible friction points, about smoothing the path, making the next click feels obvious, natural, effortless. Because when you design for flow, your store stops feeling like a maze and starts feeling like a story. And people love a good story, especially when they are the main character. That's what micro decisions are really about. It's not just what you say. It's what you remove. You remove doubt, you remove confusion, you remove noise, and in doing that, you create space for one clear thought: yes, I want this. And the more momentums of flow you stack together, the easier that decision becomes. Not because the product changed, but because the experience did. And here is the thing: most of these friction points aren't hard to fix. They are not technical flaws, they are clarity flaws. And clarity is something you control. For example, if someone clicks on a size chart and it opens in a new tab instead of a pop up, that's a break in flow. They've left the page, even if it was just for a second. But now they might forget what they were doing, or get distracted by another open tab, or lose momentum entirely. Same goes for checkout. If the checkout button is too low on mobile, or if it asks for too much information upfront, that's another speed bump. Remember, every extra field, every unclear label, every tiny hiccup, it chips away at the buyer's momentum. And you can't always see this from inside the business. You know your site, you know where everything is, but your customer does not. So the best thing you can do: watch someone new try to navigate your product page. Just sit back and notice where they slow down, where they pause, where they squint or scroll back up. That's where your flow is leaking. And when you fix that, not just the visuals but the feel of your page. That's when things starts to click, sales go up, not because traffic went up but because flow got smoother. That's the magic of removing friction. Now, let us shift into something that quietly makes a massive difference, and that's understanding that not all the product pages should look the same. Because how you sell a t shirt is not how you sell a moisturizer, and it's definitely not how you sell a smartwatch. Yet, so many online stores use the same layout, the same format, the same copy structure, regardless of what they are selling. But great e commerce pages respect the type of product they are presenting, they adapt. Let's start with apparel. When someone lands on a clothing product page, whether it's a hoodie, a dress, or a pair of jeans, the very first thing they care about is the look, not the technical specs, not the brand story, not the return policy. They want to see the product clearly, fully, from multiple angles on a model in different lighting, ideally on different body types. The visuals are the product here. And right after that, the buyer wants to know one thing: will it fit me? So, your size chart, fit notes, fabric feel, and model measurements are not optional, they are essential. Because buying clothing online is an act of trust. People can't touch it, they can try it on. So, the more you help them visualize how it will look and feel on them, the more confident they'll be to buy. Now, compare that to a skincare brand. Here's the shopper's mindset is totally different. They're thinking about ingredients, routines, results. They want to know, is this safe for my skin type? What does it actually do? How long does it take to show the results? They're not just looking for pretty packaging, they're scanning for proof. So this is where your product page needs to shift tone. It has to feel more informative, more reassuring, include it should include benefits, right at the top. Reduces dark spots, clear acne, hydrates dark skin. Then go into how to use it. What is the texture? Is it meant for daily use? Can it be used with other products? And most importantly, are there real reviews from people with similar skin concerns? Skincare is personal, so the language needs to be empathetic and the content needs to speak the trust. So now let's take something like electronics, say a set of wireless earbuds. Here, logic plays a bigger role. The buyer wants to see the specs, battery life, compatibility, sound quality, warranty, what's included in the box, everything. This is where technical clarity becomes crucial. If the product page skims on details or uses vague phrases like crystal clear sound without giving specific like driver size, latency, or noise cancelling features, the buyer loses interest. They leave and Google the model number elsewhere. That's why electronic product pages should almost feel like a cheat sheet. Clean comparison tables, bullet points, feature highlights, maybe even a short unboxing video. And unlike apparel or skincare, here is the decision. Here the decision is less emotional and more rational. The page needs to give the buyer confidence that this product meets their need and does so better than similar options. So even if your branding is stylish, the layout needs to serve function first. These differences might seem subtle, but they matter so much because product pages are not one size fits all. If you're selling home decor, your page might benefit from lifestyle imagery and inspiration photos. If you're selling supplements, you need clarity on dosage, ingredients, and certifications. If it is baby products, safety assurance comes first. And once you start tailoring your product page to match what your specific customer is really trying to figure out, you stop losing people to uncertainty. You create an experience that speaks to their unique mindset. So the smart move isn't just copying what some big brand is doing, it's studying your own product category, thinking like your customer, and asking what do they need to feel sure. Because confidence is what converts. And here is the part that really seals the deal. When your product page speaks the language of your category, it doesn't just inform, it builds credibility. It tells the customer, we know what matters to you. That's what separates an average store from one that feels professional and trustworthy. If you are selling fitness gear, talk performance and durability. If it's art prints, highlights material and finish. Don't try to force every product into the same mold. Instead, lean into what makes your product type different and what questions your customer is secretly trying to answer. The more you speak directly to the context, the less they have to figure it out on their own. And when they don't have to figure things out, they buy. That's how powerful smart product page alignment really is.